One badge. Two badge. Penny and dime.
What would you say as far as production wise, like
production? Well, I feel like the production is kind of like, ties in with the overall look and aesthetic.
Yeah,
of the
they
show.
did it. Yeah, they did it very realistic, and yeah, it was just they took their time.
I thought the
lighting,
the production was great. Everything was lit well. Some of my favorite things were some of the weird dream sequences throughout the series.
Yeah,
which got more and more upsetting as the season goes on.
I liked all of those right up until the end.
Yeah,
the last one.
We'll wait for that until the spoilers.
But yeah, so for the most part, though, nothing really jumped out at me from like a cinematography standpoint. It seemed very cut and dry, straightforward.
No, I think the shots were good. The cinematography was good.
I'd say adequate.
I feel like
it wasn't shitty.
I feel like they let the characters.
Yeah,
the characters what drove the scene, not so much.
Right.
Yeah, not so much like the cinematography, which is again jumping off topic. You look at Batman versus Superman, and it's just a series of vignettes. It's just a bunch of, here's a sequence.
Yep.
And then you could put this sequence anywhere in a movie, and it wouldn't matter. Whereas like in this, it's like, okay, here's a character. Pay attention to the character.
Yeah. Right. But that's not to say there aren't sequences. It's just the sequences that are handled in a way that makes sense with the story and keeps the story moving forward instead of having you go,
what?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Is this important?
There wasn't any.
Could this story be told without this? No, I think that all of the flashbacks and sort of.
I think it was pretty fat free. There wasn't a whole lot that could really be cut.
That's a really great way to sort of. To describe it, it's very fat free.
Everything that was in there pretty much needed to be there. Even, and I won't go into detail, but there were some points in with the very heavily based about veterans, and the whole time you're watching this veteran, you're kind of sitting there thinking, why don't I keep watching this?
Yeah,
this seems kind of point. Oh.
So, do we feel like we've talked enough about
Micro,
the Micro Punisher,
Berman,
Madani?
Yeah.
Not real much to say about her. She's a good character, but there's not a whole lot to say about her.
So, Agent Madani, I thought was awesome. I thought it was kind of cool where it wasn't like... It was one of those situations where, like, it was a female character in a place where it was written as a male character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, to me, felt more real and made me like the character more because... outside of her work, she's very much, thinking like the way men are depicted in a lot of these movies and you
it was refreshing.
Yeah. And that was really cool.
And I've always sort of considered myself a feminist, not in the standpoint of like, bra burning or whatever, but at the standpoint of like everybody's equal.
I find it very attractive to see, like, to me, like seeing a strong woman on the big screen or on a smaller screen
when it's not forced
is really cool. When that person is a confident person who's doing that has a motivation, right?
Yeah.
That it's not just because we're not just adding this woman into this because we need a woman to be in here.
Yeah.
They added this actress in, and she
pulled it off really well.
She pulled it off really well.
Yeah, she was.
I really did like that character, and it's one of those characters.
She reminded me of my mom growing up.
Sure, I know your mom, and I could definitely see that.
Stein, something's up. Something's happened to the truck. They were last at Pier 9. I'm heading there.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
Just get there. It's being ripped off.
think that it's really cool that a character who could kind of be like, for all intents and purposes, that character could have been written like in a way that it's kind of a disposable character.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
And they didn't do that at all.
Yeah.
There was a really cool
Like Luke
dynamic and
Cage.
arc with her.
like Luke Cage,
Yeah.
the cop and Luke Cage, like perfect example. These two are night and day, and they pretty much have the same role. You know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, I mean, she just came off catty and bitchy, whereas Madani comes off like goal oriented and driven. You know?
Strong. Yeah. she's
And
Very
yeah.
driven.
Yeah.
So, real quick, speaking of driven, and when she's in that chase, and they're both in the Cobras, and
I was gonna say
I
something
was like-
about that.
Beautiful cars.
I really liked how Micro just took it upon himself to step up, because what they showed, I mean, they could have made him out to be like a total pussy, sort of like they made in
Yeah.
Warzone.
I loved
like-
his response to it. You made me get my fucking hands dirty.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was pissed.
What did you do?
What did I do?
Yeah.
What did I do? What did I do? Look at my hands. Look at my hands dirty, you piece of shit!
Hey.
Was that a Ford motor like spot? They're both driving fucking Mustangs.
I don't know.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, it could have been.
I'm for it. I thought those cars looked pretty awesome. It was cool to see an old school sort of chase with old school cars.
No, yeah. You don't
old
see.
school and new school,
Stop and
yeah.
think about it. Unless it's a Fast and Furious movie, or like Driven, or Baby Driver,
Fast and Furious.
or any of that shit. Like, you don't see chase scenes in movies anymore.
Paul Walker.
Fuck him.
Fuck that whole franchise
you
of
rotten
fucking
pieces.
movies.
He did other movies, man.
Did he?
Dude, did they do that one that was Fast and Furious? It was a 7?
800.
Where they got to get him to his funeral, and they souped up a hearse, put a Hemi in it.
Didn't he die in a car accident?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah. Somebody.
Dude,
Cut!
yeah.
So the Madani character, very well written, very well played.
Tell me you didn't see that coming with Frank walking up to the car and pulling her out of the car and saving her.
I saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was. I mean, obviously there had to. I mean, that was the
Frank
their
has a
Deus
very-
Ex Machina. You know, like they.
I think Frank has a very soft spot for.
Especially for women, and doing the right thing.
Yeah.
He's very old-fashioned, very
Yeah.
chivalrous.
Yeah.
He wasn't. Kind
Which
of just,
is pretty wild, and there's also, in my opinion, there's a bit of a commentary there because we live in a world now where everybody's very overly sensitive about many things, and one of those things is men who are sort of old school and sort of traditional about things. So if you hold the door for someone or you do something nice for a woman, it implies some sort of like nefarious intent.
Quid pro
nowadays.
quo, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So you hold the door for somebody and you're twisting your mustache, and that's your way of trying to, I don't know,
Yeah.
you know,
Get it in.
and like I just think that it's kind of cool to see
gotta
that depicted.
Yeah.
Got to get in where you fit in, yeah.
I like when she asked.
No, but sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I liked when she asked if he killed that guy, and he's like, "Yeah,
Oh yeah, I did.
yeah, like,
Yeah, but dude, I like.
I did that shit.
yeah." That was
But
me.
I mean, the thing that I think sort of took away from some of that whole, like quid pro quo thing, like, the way people get upset about it and everything like that, is that he didn't necessarily do it because he's like holding the door open for her. He more so did it, and he issued a nice little warning with these, "Stay out of my way, Madani."
Yeah.
And like, I know who you are. Stay the fuck out of my way. Okay, so moving on to
Lewis. I don't know how to explain it, but personally, watching the Punisher season 1 sort of unfold, the way that they portrayed veterans was in a very respectful. It didn't seem like they were exploiting.
Yeah.
no, very much so.
It was very telling it the way it is. It was
As a
very
veteran,
honest.
I
Realistic.
appreciated
And
that.
I thought that was
Yeah.
that was really cool because you could really, I mean, it's an action show. You could really kind of go overboard and like, inadvertently disrespect without trying to do that. It could easily be done. I could.
in an age where everybody is easily triggered.
They did a really good job at in my opinion, of being respectful to the veterans, it didn't feel sleazy. It didn't
Yeah.
feel
Like
like
you're
a grab.
pandering.
Yeah, pandering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I didn't feel that way either when I was watching it. In fact, being a veteran, I've seen a lot of that stuff, and with people dealing with that, and it's no joke.
The portrayal of the Lewis character, I thought was a really compelling. You have this young kid who comes back and like he can't leave. Like he came back from the war, but he didn't come back from the war. Like it's still happening. He can't separate himself from what he experienced, and ultimately it pushes him to a place where like it's a show and like it's dramatized, but like as you're watching it you're like I can totally see how this could happen.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's like the same with like
it's very like even with dealing with this guy who pretty much goes sociopathic, like you feel for him, and I think that says something about the way they did the show.
Well, it's like that same mentality with like people being in prison for so long they're in prison, they get out of prison and they don't know the life. It's the same kind of hard to come back to reality.
Bugsy was here.
What?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what movie was that they did?
Shawshank
that?
Redemption.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. But I was gonna go on to something else, and I was trying to think. Yeah, with that kid, Lewis, I mean, you feel for him because, he thinks he's getting shit on, and he really is kind of getting the shaft.
Yeah.
There, I mean, he actually does have some stuff that kind of does lead him to being pushed over the edge, but he idolizes Frank Castle, and Frank kind of puts himself in perspective because he realizes he was batshit crazy a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And so is his kid.
Full today.
That's good. Wakes people up. Ma'am, join with us to reaffirm your God-given Second Amendment rights.
Oh, I'm good, thanks.
Every day they lose more of their liberty. Being chipped away in that building right now. They don't even know it.
It's a protest. You have a permit.
No, we aren't protesting. We are handing out literature, which is free and 100% allowed by law.
There's a guy on trial in there, a good man, a teacher, who carried his gun into the classroom.
Okay, so you are protesting.
What can we do for you, officer?
You can go home. Take us.
Respectfully, sir, you have no right to ask us to move. A permit is required if amplification is involved in any gathering or protest. No mic, no speaker, no permit needed. We have no vehicles. We're fewer than 20 people. We're not blocking the sidewalk or the entrance of a building.
This is a city courthouse. You want to hang out here? I'm your permit, son. But today's not the day. Go home.
Come on, let's get a cup of coffee, huh?
Sir, please mark that in this encounter I have done absolutely nothing against the law. I've been 100% respectful. What you are doing, however, is making up the rules as you go, not enforcing them. I pay your salary. We all pay your salary. So protect and serve.
Just do as I tell you. Huh?
Just let it go, kid.
No, that's not how this country works.
Did you just reach for my gun?
No, sir, I did not.
I just saw you reach for my gun.
I didn't, and I have a witness.
No, well, yeah,
You wanna
we already
touch on
covered
Yeah.
Lewis really
Or
earlier.
you want to talk about
Brian Adams. What was his name?
hold on.
What was you had said his name earlier. I can't remember. I don't know
Lewis?
why.
What? Brian.
Do you want to maybe Ben Barnes's character?
Ben Barnes.
Of what was
See, I hear Ben Barnes and I think of what was the thing's name? Ben.
Oh my goodness.
Not Barnes. Was it?
No, it's oh my god. Why?
No, I'm thinking Bucky Barnes.
Well, there's
Oh,
Bucky Barnes.
Bucky Barnes, which is the Winter Soldier, and then
And
there's
then-
Ben.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
what the fuck is the thing's
Fantastic
name?
Four. Put it in the comments.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, tell us how we're wrong.
I already have. You already have probably.
We haven't contracted YouTube cancer yet.
Yeah.
Nobody leaves comments on our
Yeah.
videos. Except for nice ones.
Yeah.
It'll happen. That's how we'll know we made it.
Yeah. Once we get cancer.
So, Ben Barnes. Very clean cut. I did not IMDb him. I didn't look up anything about this show before it came out because I really wanted to be surprised.
Yeah.
However, knowing the Punisher the way that I did, I immediately knew who he was. And it was confirmed for me after the sex scene with Madani, and they were talking about, by the way, him and Madani are romantically involved. Madani, she goes, oh,
goes
all these scars on your body and nothing on that pretty face of yours. Sounds like Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Jigsaw, like, yeah.
I really do love that they kind of leave you hanging for a while with this character, where they show him and his relationship to Frank and how close they were in the bad old days, and you don't really know where his allegiances are,
it's
and
like
then when
a-
you do find out, like how he's connected to what's happening, you still aren't sure whether or not maybe he can be trusted. Maybe this is his.
He's like a chaotic evil, like good.
In my opinion, he kind of is. I mean, he is essentially the villain.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Him and Agent Orange, but more so him.
Yeah.
He was great. You like him and you don't like him all at the same time. You trust him and you don't trust him.
Yeah.
I thought they did a really great job at sort of keeping you sort of
on the
wondering,
edge.
like wondering
Yeah.
where that feather was eventually going to fall. Because I feel like from the moment they introduced that character, they begin like
Well,
this pendulum.
The thing that I wasn't sure about, and correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the original character for Jigsaw? He was a mob guy.
I believe so. I believe so.
And that
But
was
this
what was
was
kind
also
of like throwing me off. But when when Madani made that comment about him having that pretty face, that's when it confirmed it for me. I was
well,
like, that's
yeah. I do believe in the comic book continuity, and I'm sure that somebody will correct me if I'm wrong on this. The character is in fact somebody in organized crime, and it's kind of like one of those Dick Tracy sort of
Yeah, like,
villains.
Yeah.
I'm mush face, you know.
And
Yeah.
I really dug the sort of updated twist on that.
Well, that's. I mean, like
Yeah.
if you watched Punisher Warzone, was it 2010, 2011?
What was that, Eric? No, who was Jigsaw in that? I can't remember what that actor's name
I don't know.
is.
His face was fucked. But
I hope he doesn't end up looking like that though.
I don't think he will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope he looks more like the merger character from Hannibal, like a baby, with no lips.
Real quick, going into that whole his pretty face. How fucked... I was telling you, were watching it with me.
Yeah.
He came over and saw the last 2 episodes before he saw everything else because I was watching it when I was sick. And, dude, he shoots him in the face and I was like, oh, damn. I mean, he's got to be worse than that.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, watch.
Yeah, you
I
saw
saw
the
the
glass.
mirror and I'm like, dude, watch. His fucking face is just going to get cheese grated down that whole fucking
and,
mirror.
You know what's really funny is like I saw that coming and then I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a Jigsaw situation. And the initial one, at the end of that, I'm like, nah, he messed up his face a
Like,
good
pulled
bit,
the
but like
bullet
that's
out.
not.
Oh!
And then like we get another 1 or 2 hits into that mirror and the giant
other
chunks are
side.
coming off
Yeah.
of him. And it's like, oh, that'll do it. That'll do
Yeah,
it.
he's fucked. And then they show him in the fucking full facial cast.
I gotta
again.
say, I'm really excited to see what they do with that character and how they bring that character back into the story again, because you know he's gonna come.
He's gonna rip all that stuff
Yeah.
off, and it's gonna be Jack Nicholson. He's gonna go, Joker.
Yeah. Yeah. Other main players.
Agent Orange.
Agent Orange. Yeah. You got your
your typical CIA bad guy.
Yeah.
He felt
On
very
his own. Yeah.
Yeah.
Felt very. Just
But you
sort
know,
of,
you got to wonder if like he wasn't meant to sort of play that role. Like,
Well,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like he's the bad guy, but like he's not the bad guy.
felt like very. What was that? What was that movie with George Clooney? Not Three Kings. Some
Batman.
Batman Forever. That was it. It was that Batman Forever. Was that which one had the bat nipples?
It was
Batman and Robin.
Yeah, Batman and Robin.
No, that's not the movie I was talking about. I mean, there's a lot of movies where you'll see like that. He's just like a stock bad guy, where he just sort of.
But you know what? I feel like for like with the rest of the show, it actually worked.
What the hell
By
was
portraying him like that. One of my favorite scenes with him though is the scene where he's standing there and Frank takes the shot on him, and the bullet hits that glass.
Oh yeah, dude, and he doesn't even flinch.
He doesn't even
Yeah.
flinch. He's just like that was like that character's like.
And that was the first
badass
time you've
moment.
actually seen Frank kind of like,
Flustered.
oh fuck,
Like,
yeah, like that
I
didn't
guess
go the way I wanted it
I guess
to.
you saw me coming.
One badge. Two badge. Penny and dime.
Normally their heads explode.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But what is it with the stupid little gloves? And he even like mentions about it. He's like, "Oh, were you afraid to get your fucking hands dirty?"
Well, sure.
Yeah.
He's a Weasley dude who's like, not trying to leave any of him, not to be connected to any of this stuff. It's almost like he's separating himself from the things that he's doing. You know,
Yeah.
almost like a
Yeah.
not it.
Wow, you're like way too far in his head, more
Well,
than me.
yeah.
Well, that's crazy.
That's where I. That's
No,
that's
why
where I go.
That's why I wanted you to do this.
That's where I
because
go.
You
Yeah,
put
that
a lot
is-
of insight into things. A lot of times that I kind of feel like, especially as a kid when we were younger, and we'd be watching a movie, and I'd be like, "Oh, that was a pretty good movie." And you'd be like, "Oh, I thought that this part was very indicative of this movie," and it sort of felt like sort of like Kubrick, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, movie nerd.
And I'm like,
discharged.
but as I've gotten older, and I've even I have a lot of that to thank from you. I've learned to appreciate movies a little more in depth.
One should be picky about the
Yeah.
movies.
I don't want to just be in the whole, hey, it's an action movie and
Explosions.
Yeah, that's why I'm not.
Everybody
yeah,
raves
it's
about
a
John
television
Wick.
movie.
Everybody raves about
You know
John
what?
Wick, and the thing is with John Wick, unless you appreciate it for just being a bunch of like schlock or like gobbledygook or whatever, like just atypical, like, oh, here you go, here's your action movie for them.
I'm gonna put this out there. I've never seen either of the John Wick movies.
But I gotta tell you,
Yeah,
it's not
that's a thing.
It's just a very.
action
It's an
sequence
action
after action sequence after action sequence.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Well, with the John Wick thing, though, the only thing I will say about John Wick is that they bullet count. They are very cognitive of every single bullet, what it sounds like, every shot that comes out, the way they do it, reloading, and making sure that you see that. And they do that a lot in Punisher.
Yeah.
Like, it is very, I'm not shooting 25 bullets out of the same 9mm handgun with a freaking average clip in it,
Yeah.
Like, he's like, bang, 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 shit, I'm out, reload, bang, bang, bang,
Yeah.
This is me pantomiming.
Talking about this. I'm gonna backtrack just for a second. One of the cool things I thought that they did with the Micro character is they implemented modern technology into how he does what he does. And what he ends up doing is very indicative of what he does in the comics, but like his tools are it makes more sense now.
Oh, yeah.
With
Yeah.
like the implementation of like
Modernize
the
it.
drones. and
He's
stuff.
not sitting in
Yeah.
the back of the battle van.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they have a command post that they're working out of, and
Yeah.
not like a bunch of like a whole supercomputer. And that's all you need to know.
Those
no
batteries,
modem, no
batteries
nothing.
on batteries on those drones though. They weren't counting.
Counting.
They weren't counting
battery life.
They weren't counting batteries.
Yeah.
But I did like the implementation of.
I did like that forest scene that you're talking about with the
That
drone.
forest scene was really cool.
Yeah.
I love that they had the perspective, and I love how he was calling
Well-
out the shots to him.
Again with the voyeuristic look.
Very cool.
The fucking the body cams.
Yeah,
You know, and they're showing the body cam
the
running
body
around.
cam
Yeah.
thing was really cool. Like the body cam showing Agent Orange.
And he's
Yes, this is
sitting up there like
definitely Frank Castle
Yep.
killing all of your guys.
Yeah.
I don't know who you are, but I'm coming for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that part was like.
Whoever you are, I'm coming for you. Murdoch.
Rambo, this is Murdoch. We're glad you're alive. Where are you?
Murdoch. I'm coming to get you.
I wish I could do a better Frank Castle
Yeah,
stick.
you sound more like sounds more like Coral.
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 Lori.
What else? Okay, so we Agent Orange. I feel like we got that. I thought that his demise was a little bit lackluster. I kind of wanted to see a little bit more.
Well, I
Get
think it
down
was
with
cool that. See, it's weird because like
The guy in the
Jigsaw.
the thugs in the building got, more.
Yeah.
But it's weird because like Jigsaw hands it. Your initial thought before you get because you're caught up in the sensory of the whole scene is like, oh, he's handing him he's helping him out. But when you stop and you think about it, he's not helping him out. He's helping himself out.
Yep.
And so like when he like cuts like loose the bindings, he knows that Frank's gonna get up there and fucking murder the shit out of him.
Yep.
Enemy.
And
my
hoping
enemy is my
they
friend.
kill each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's just-
it's like almost the idea of like letting two predators go at it, and you'll deal with
the wounded one after.
you'll deal with the
Yeah.
wounded one after they're tired and
Yep. But then I think somebody showed up or something in the middle of that.
noteworthy pop-ups from
Milani did.
from other series. What's that?
I said the lady did. Showed up.
Oh yeah, Madani.
Madani.
I didn't really catch any.
No, well, Karen had popped up.
Okay, Karen Page.
And what's really cool about Karen Page is like she still has the gun from season 1.
Oh yeah.
of Daredevil, and like they even go back to talking to her about her murder charges, which I thought was kind of cool, and it and the gun does play a part.
Well, see, they haven't
in
gone
this
into
new
her
story.
backstory yet.
Yeah,
Well, because do you realize that
they may not.
Well, do you realize at one point that Karen Page in the comic books actually becomes a porn actress?
No, I was
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They touch on a lot of shit.
Yeah.
In the comics, like, trying to think well, in the comics, Tony Stark is an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Well, no, Tony Stark's character was always sort of portrayed as that Howard Hughes eccentric
But there's a
germaphobe.
part where Jarvis actually leaves him because of his alcoholism.
Yeah.
And that's his like waking moment. I'm like, oh fuck.
No, that
Yeah.
What was really cool about Marvel Comics in the 90s is they were tackling a lot of social issues.
Oh yeah.
They had a hero that was an alcoholic. Honestly,
Not just in the 90s. I mean, all the way back in the 70s, man. They had some of the first black superheroes.
Yeah, I know, but they also kind of presented them in that sort of blaxploitation sort of fashion, though, too, with like the way that they
You
have
didn't
them
like Luke
dressed.
Cage's outfit?
No, I mean, I feel like the more modern. I'm more into the modern.
Luke Cage's outfit.
But where the hell was I even going?
That they blaxploitation.
Yeah, I mean, like they kind of were, that sort of thing was very popular.
But that's
during
the
that time.
exact same thing they did with his show.
But they also did that with Iron Fist. Iron Fist in the comic books was meant to be sort of that king from Kung Fu sort of character. Goes off, becomes a monk and a warrior and higher purpose and all that stuff, and comes back and that's kind of, I mean, if you think about it that way, like you have a character that's kind of pulled from the time period's blaxploitation film movement and from that Hong Kong an American like fascination with like martial arts. You have those two sort of exploitations kind of coming together in the comic book, and then they become allies very early on, like in the 70s. They are teamed up together. It's kind of an interesting thing there. But
it's interesting how they bring it into a modern era with that stuff that was made back in the 70s, and they're trying to modernize it.
Yeah, right.
Like,
and they are,
and they're doing good.
And for the way that they're cranking them out, and I mean,
I feel like
getting some really, really,
I
really
honestly
good
feel
writers.
like the seasons, the Netflix seasons of these shows are doing a better job at that than the movies, because they are able to flesh these characters out.
Well, they can
more
do the
so
long
per
game.
season.
Yeah, the long.
You have that
long
that
con.
slow burn, right?
Yeah, slow burn.
But
Good band, by the way.
Vape Nation.
Vape
What?
Nation. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Sorry, go ahead. Did I distract you? I didn't mean to interrupt you. So, would you recommend it?
I would absolutely recommend it. That's what we were getting at, like the whole the sort of like those characters in their dated the dated times and dated social aspects that brought them into comic books versus the more realistic modern day approach to how these characters get introduced. I feel like the shows do a really good job at doing that. You are dealing with characters that are flawed, and that's what I was getting at earlier. Like, it's one of the really cool things about, in my opinion, the Watchmen comic. Whether you like it, you like it or hate it, it was the first time that they were showing like the seedy underbelly.
I had to really take your recommendation on that one, because like I did not care for that movie the first time I tried to watch it.
Yeah.
I
feel like in the books, like it. I feel like
the comic was amazing.
Now I really like it.
I feel like they did a good job. That again is I'm curious to see what they do with the series on that.
Yeah.
Because they're turning that into a series, from what I understand. The whole Watchmen's becoming a series. So
that's Vertigo, though, right?
Right, which is connected. Yeah. Which is connected to DC.
It might as well not be. Yeah. Because all the stuff that's in Vertigo comes out is amazing.
Yeah.
Everything else sucks shit.
Yeah. But
real quick though, I would give Punisher, I'd say a 9 out of 10. And the only reason I would drop it a point is because, like I said, Frank seems less unhinged than he did, and maybe it's just because he's had time, but they don't really go in there and explain that. It almost kind of feels like it was just, we can't have him be fuck crazy all the time. So they kind of rewrote him a little bit.
They mellowed him down.
Well, yeah. I mean, in season 1, Cage Animal versus.
I mean, he's absolutely nuts.
Or in season 2 of Daredevil, he's like an animal.
Yeah.
A berserker. Whereas, season 1 Punisher, you have a more collected, cognitive character that is being logical and has a strategy behind kill. You know what I mean? And it's almost like, I think we were talking about this. It's almost like they're kind of like, yeah, I know we said in season 2 he was shot in the head, and it's part of why he went a little bit nuts.
Yeah, and it just kind of like
it messed his.
It kind of like pulled back from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, there's no reference to that at all.
At all. It's like we're just gonna pretend we never said that.
Nor any scars. For
he never had it either.
Yeah, I don't know. should be a scar.
But I think you and we discussed.
I would, like going back to the announcement of Punisher showing up in these Netflix series. I was really excited, and I was all in with the announcement that John Bernthal was going to be Punisher because for me growing up, the Punisher in my mind growing up as a kid, I always imagined him with that just almost Frank Miller smashed up face. Nose.
Yeah, he does have that very
like a nose that just looks like it's just been smashed in and smashed in.
He's got that broken it was
like,
very very good. Very good actor.
I could visually see him as the Punisher, and then season 2, Daredevil happens, and just like it exceeded my expectation.
Yeah.
It just exceeded my expectation, and then I was not let down with the series.
Yeah, they did
with season 1. I want season 2.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Something I wanted to touch base with you on is something we talked about last year, and I just looked it up. I didn't really see much about it since they talked about it last year. Daredevil season 2 got announced right after it came out. Immediately, it was like, oh yeah, Punisher series is coming this year.
Yeah.
So they were talking about that, and then you and I found an article, a couple different articles actually, talking about how Netflix is going to be releasing Blade and a Ghost Rider series as well. And we were talking about...
I feel like Ghost Rider's the only way you could do that right is to have episodes for it. That you can flesh out that character, because it's way too much. Oh my God, there's way too much.
Now you just need to have Nicolas Cage run around screaming. That's all you need.
No Nicolas Cage.
You know what? Like I don't give a shit if it's Nicolas Cage or Jared Leto or whoever the fuck. Like, you need the time to establish.
That was the
characters.
most rushed movie I've ever seen in my life.
But I mean, the thing is, like with that though, what we were discussing, and because Daredevil or Defenders was getting talked about a lot. We were talking about wouldn't it be cool?
I gotta say, like last year's, like this year's biggest letdown as far as that sort of stuff goes was Defenders.
Yep.
I was looking forward to it so much. Like I can't, even Iron Fist. Like I got through it, and this is the thing. Even though I'm a little bit more hard on this, Iron Fist and Defenders, I didn't hate either of them.
I didn't either.
Like they both had their finer points, and I don't necessarily think that Finn Jones is Danny Rand is he's doing it badly at all.
No,
I think he's a
great
great actor. I think that the character they need to make that character more focused.
I don't think the writing was very well for that show.
Yeah.
Just as the Defenders kind of felt rushed.
The Defenders felt very rushed.
And the thing with that is, like, they made this big freaking deal. Oh, we got Sigourney Weaver. And then what they do with her? Nothing.
Yeah.
Like...
I kind of was hoping for a little bit more of...
Well, there was talk that she was going to be Mephisto. And that would lead the jump off, and back to what we were talking about, Ghost Rider and Midnight Suns.
Well, there's a good possibility that they pumped the brakes on all that stuff.
Because of the way that Iron Fist and
well, no, I think that it goes more so. I think, and this is just my personal opinion, and I'm not I'm just a dude looking at this stuff and watching the news. Well,
the nudes
occasionally.
No, all the time.
The news with what's happening with all this stuff, because it is interesting. Like decisions that get made, things that get announced, and then decided upon. Nope, not doing that. Nope, never mind. Just kidding. I feel like it's probably more likely to be that they have already established sort of these shows for Netflix right now, and with the idea that Disney's going to do their own streaming network, and Netflix is probably going to end up losing these things, because I don't see Disney playing nice and letting them keep these series.
Oh, I do and I don't.
I mean, the only way that I can see this happening is if Netflix is like really putting. I don't.
So now that we're here at this point, now we're talking about this. One of the reasons why they're trying to acquire 20th Century Fox is so that they have more content to put onto their streaming service.
Right.
And not only that, in sort of a back alley reach around to try and grab the
Fantastic Four and the
Fantastic
X-Men.
Four and the X-Men.
Yeah.
And I think Fox
And I hope
was
I hope they do it.
I do too, but I think Fox kind of was like, oh, wait. You need to give us more money. And I think Disney was like, yeah, go fuck yourself.
So
We'll buy you out later.
So at this point, that's not.
No, it was talked about and it got taken off the table.
Yeah.
But it's not going to not happen. It's going to happen eventually. It's just
wait it
matter
out.
of whenever.
You gotta be you gotta be that jigsaw waiting for those two animals.
And
to
I
battle it out.
think as long as movies like the the Fantastic Four flopped.
Like a couple times.
Yeah, now,
I was gonna say, how many times did it flop?
The X-Men, that's kind of like in a tailspin.
It's a mess.
It's always
in
in
my
a tailspin.
opinion. It's been a mess.
And then you've got movies like the Justice League, Batman vs Superman. The only thing that did anything decent was Wonder Woman, and that's because they pretty much stole the same premise from another Marvel movie. They went ahead and they got.
You know what though? I'm gonna say that I thought that it worked.
No, I mean that's fine. That's fine. I'm not talking shit.
I enjoyed Wonder Woman.
But
I think that one of the reasons why I enjoyed it is because it got the same things right.
They fired the director. They fired the director for Justice League and brought in the freaking director and writer for freaking Avengers. You know.
Yeah.
So it's like, they realize, as long as this stuff keeps dying like this. And the market is so oversaturated, and the only people that seem to be able to do it right is Marvel. I think eventually people are going to start offloading these properties because they're going to be like, we can't do anything with it, and we know nobody's going to want to see it if we do it.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to get rid of it.
Well, no, I feel like that's probably...
it's going to reach a peak at one point where it's like...
Well, it's getting to the point almost now where it's like what they did with the zombies.
Yeah. Walking Dead came out, and there was like zombie everywhere you look. And it's like... It literally is like, what superhero movie of the week is coming out this week? Yeah, exactly. Like, it's the market's too over. Saturated.
Cut to ashes. Go to ashes.
Paper fell like.
That's the universe saying.
Yeah, we're getting long-winded, but the only thing I will say is like the Star Wars is doing the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
And it's going to get to the point.
You know what? I feel like what we're doing right now could be a show unto itself.
Oh no, I know, and that's what I wanted to do. I didn't.
Horizons.
I did not plan on spending this much time on just the Punisher, but I think we got a lot of good stuff and a lot of good thoughts. I think, like you had said, since this is a new format, moving forward.
Bear with us. We're working on it.
Yeah, we're going to flesh some things out. We're going to do some bullet points before each show, and we'll have some pretty good ideas on what to talk about. And I think next week maybe we'll talk maybe more comic book movies, or we can do Star Wars, Game of Thrones,
pop culture,
anything. So, yeah.
Cool.
I hope you enjoy this. And, again, on Name Show, we're going to figure out what to call it.
What should we call it? Comments.
But yeah,
name our show.
But yeah, so once we figure out a name and we got something, I will call upon you and your editing skills to come up with something flashy.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
Okay, well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a great day. And if you do like what you saw, like, subscribe, click them buttons.
If you love train wrecks,
yes,
you're gonna love this.
Oh yeah, no, we go on right off the fucking rails. And
tell your friends.
To wherever we want.
Tell your friends if they love train wrecks.
Right.
Back to the
great drinking game. Anytime we go off the rails and go off topic, a drink has to happen.
Yeah.
So that it happens more often. But Back to the Future 3 had a train wreck in it.
Yeah.
Well, and then at the end, that train flew.
All right.
Bye. Anyways, hey, have a good night. Thank you.